have a dream of a perfectly curated YouTube feed, Instagram feed, whatever social media I'm on feed that feels like it builds and it creates and it tells stories and it engages you and relates to you. And then life happens and we just get what we get. So here we are. Hi everyone, my name is Joy and I'm the creative behind Just Joy Creative. Thank you for landing on this page, on this video. I hope today we can have a chat about achievement, as this is something that I have been learning in my life and in the messiness of life, been learning how I can not always have the control I would like. So let's jump into it. All right. First off, if you're following along at all, I said last video that I was going to talk about my kind of career journey a little bit because I was coming up on a 1-year anniversary of quite a significant change in my life. And then I went dark in the sense of I haven't posted in like 3 weeks. And that is because life has a way of lifing and I got pneumonia. So I kind of just disappeared. All it was a cough, a pretty deep cough, as pneumonia is, and I just needed to rest. And so I kind of checked out offline because you just need to. And I'm kind of coming back with this perspective that I'm not really built for curated, perfectly structured things. In my past life, in my past career, I was a professor. And so I did have to have lesson plans that, spanned across 15 weeks, make sure they meet learning outcomes. And as I'm learning my new kind of rhythm of life, I'm like, yeah, I am not that organized. I am way more a type B person than I am a type A. Like I'm type A because I'm organized, but I'm like type B because I'm like, but if the plan doesn't work, it's not the end of the world. So here we are, back from recovering, from pneumonia. And I just want to talk to you today about achievement, which was what drove me in my last career. So I want to talk about it that way. And maybe one day we'll have the conversation of where I've come from in a more detailed way. But what I want to talk about today is actually achievement in our world right now. And how it's affected me. And hopefully by sharing this, it helps to just kind of like help you process what you want your achievements to look like. And so what I will say about my past life, which feels crazy to say, but it does feel like my past life, I was driven by achievement. I was driven by the age that I accomplished something and how impressive that made me look. So I will say this, when I was 21, I started becoming a production assistant at the program I graduated from, which was the photography program at Algonquin. And by the time I did that until I was about 22, 23. Then I started part-time teaching when I was 23, 24. And then I started full-time teaching when I was 25, 26. And so by the time I hit 31, was 10 years into my academic educational career that I was in, and 8 years already teaching in the classroom. I also have a bachelor's and a master's of education. So I was impressive, and I loved the accomplishment of that. It felt good for me to be like, yeah, I've done all these things. And there was this drive to achieve. And I loved my life and I was happy of achieving all those things. And I didn't ask to achieve those things in the sense of like their age or ask for the opportunities. I felt like I really did kind of get brought into places and into rooms that I didn't think I deserved to be in, but other people saw it in me. And so they called me up to those places and I was able to meet the challenge because of the drive in me. I'm a huge high achiever, if you hadn't noticed. And so as that season of my life closed, as things changed in my work and I took an exit plan out of that job, I have begun to unravel the mindset of achievement that put me into a place of constantly striving to do. And so something that I used to absolutely hate is if somebody said to me, oh, you're so lucky. Because as much as I say, like, I feel like people called me up to those places, I did the work on the behind the scenes for them to be able to call me up. So when I was first asked to be a production assistant, kind of like a TA, but I didn't have to do marketing, but I sat in on classes, helped answer questions, support student learning. I got my bachelor's while I was doing that. And at the time, I was working part-time for my dad in construction. I was working part-time in the photography program. I was getting my master's, and I was also assisting for a wedding house in the local area. And so I was working on the weekends. I was basically working 7 days a week for that season of my life. And so when the part-time opportunity got given to me, I was 23, 24, and it was given to me because I had done the work. I had shown up. I was being present. I was doing all those things. And then when the full-time opportunity came up, I had gotten my bachelor's. So I had done the work that would mean that I could be in that position. And so I always struggled with this idea of people saying, well, you're so lucky. Because I'm like, oh my goodness. Like if you saw me at 5 a.m. starting to write my papers and do my research and then get in the car by 7 in the morning, work an 8-hour day, do more homework on the drive home because it was about an hour drive for most of my jobs at that time, and then get home, have dinner, say hello to some people, and then do a little bit more homework so I set myself up for the next day to repeat the cycle, you wouldn't think anything was handed to me. But then as I've stepped out of that high level of achieving, because even with my master's, I was working full time, getting my master's, I was still volunteering, I was still running my photography business as well. And so again, high achieving, lots on my plate. But I have desired to kind of pull back from that mentality in this last year where I'm really striving to not be impressive. Like that is my life goal right now, is to not be impressive. I just want to be so that's the moral of the story, is like, I just want to be me. I just want to show up online. I do want to show up online in this way. I do want to show up in my jobs that I have and my businesses and the ideas that I have and the people that I love. But I don't want to be someone that's like, wow, like that's so great. I just want to be joy at the table. But there is this desire or this drive in me, I guess, that pushes me to want to get back to that high level of achievement again, to be impressive. And so I'm doing my own kind of inner healing of just like going, okay, like what is that desire? Where does it come from? And what do I want my life to actually look like moving forward, you know? And this is something I think that like happens in your 30s where you realize that everything that you worked for doesn't really equate out the way that you thought it would. Like your 20s, you do strive to achieve and you do strive to get a name for yourself and to get kind of credentials behind you so that you can feel like you have a valid place on the table. But in your 30s, you kind of go, well, I've proven myself. So I'm allowed to be at the table. And do I have to work as hard as I thought I did? While also, if you know me at all and you are getting to know me here, and a lot of you do know me that follow, I am still up here on the level of things that I do. But I just want to come in this video and talk about the fact that the achievement isn't where we get satisfaction. To be impressive is a great feeling, but it's not what produces the fruit of an abundant life, in the sense of, if you want to have, I wouldn't say like you can't not have good friendships when you are high achieving, but there's a balance between always pushing, and then sometimes when you're with friends or you want to be in community, you can't push. You have to sit, you have to dwell, you have to be. And so I think in this season of my life, I'm learning the balance of that, where I achieve, but I don't achieve in a way that pushes me away from the slower days, the feelings of wanting to come into a life that is a little bit more settled, and romanticizing the in-between moments, you know, just the slower days, the walks after work, the chats with friends, the pieces of my life that don't look impressive, but that actually build me into the person that I want to become, because I have good people speaking into my life. I have good people that I speak into their lives, and I am feeling fulfilled based on the actual value of my life, not in the achievements of my professional life, and not letting those outbalance each other. Because I have found from my experience, when my professional life outbalances my personal life and my like depth of relationship and just like that slower kind of pace, I lean into burnout. And I do a really good job at knowing when that's coming. I'm very self-aware. So I know when the burnout kind of is starting. And so I pull back and I pull into community and I make sure that I'm resting. As much as I say that, you know, I started this video saying that I got pneumonia. So obviously I didn't follow the triggers, but crazily enough, the wild piece of that was it was just a cough. And so I just was like, oh, it's just a cough. It's spring, it's allergies, it's whatever. And I just kind of moved on. And it wasn't until 3 weeks later when I'm coughing up a lung that I realized it was worse than it was. But so I'm still learning this. But what I also want to learn from getting pneumonia and being in this space is that like, I want to stay in the space of rest. I want to achieve from rest. And I think that we have a countercultural narrative right now that says that you have to achieve out of striving. And I kind of want to counter that. And I'm on this journey. So like we're in this together. And so if you're curious if this is possible, follow along because I want to figure it out with you of like, is there a way and how do we slow down our feeds? How do we slow down our achievements in a sense of we're still achieving? I'm still achieving. I'm still dreaming. I'm still growing. I'm still building. Like, don't get me wrong, building so many ideas in my head. I'm wild that way. My brain never stops moving. But I want to do it out of space of rest because I want to do it because I feel like it would be a good thing. I'm doing it because I feel there's a fulfillment in it for me. And then I hope that in turn means there's a fulfillment in it for others. Instead of coming out of like, I want to be impressive. I want to show the world what I can do. I was never told I couldn't do things. Maybe that's part of the problem. My parents always set me up to know that I have the ability to do. So if I put the time in, I can achieve. And so I've always just been, oh, I'm just going to put the time in, I'm going to achieve. And then that's just like, and then you get the high of that. You keep kind of going on and on and on and on until all of a sudden you're always achieving. And again, I am so happy with how my life has turned out. So there's nothing wrong with how I did it to get here. But moving forward, I'm like, and a lot of the narrative online, especially now that I've started to kind of enter into this world of creation, is to do more, to push harder, to get that viral hook or to get that faster content. And I don't know if I'm a rebel, but I'm kind of like, I don't want to go faster. I actually want to go slower. I don't want to be more clear on my mission so that the algorithm picks up my video and can read it properly. I want the people that have like just random videos popping up that help inspire. I want my videos to pop up in that. I want people that really need to hear the message to see it. And I want the people that it connects to want to share it because it's not fast paced. It's not, overly dynamic. It's just me showing up, being here, present with you, and then that means something. So all of that to say, a lot of that to say, achievement is amazing and work towards your goals. But I don't know about you. I want to do it out of a place of rest, not out of striving. And so if you are in the same boat as me, welcome. You are not alone. We are in this together, but let's figure it out together. I think I'm going to have more conversations like this that are just us relating to our lives. And I just want us to talk about it and experience it. And as I get more comfortable talking about it and experiencing it, hopefully, you guys also get more comfortable to comment below. What are the things that you struggle with? Do you struggle with the striving and the accomplishment? Are you the other way where you're trying to figure out how to achieve when you are not feeling motivated? And let's talk about that because motivation is, something that we often can wait too long for. But just doing can often also mean we do too much before we're supposed to. So there's a balance of those two things, I believe. That's another video for another day. But if any of this intrigues you, please comment down below. Let me know, follow all the things. And remember, in the midst of all that you're going through, I am so thankful that you are here. And I truly believe that you are loved and you are seen in the midst of all that you're going through. So thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.